All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in once more. We're on the second match of a modern competitive league here. Unfortunately, we're down a game against Eldrazi Tron. A bit of a bad matchup. Let's take a look at our hand here. We have the turn 1, 2 spell snare. We have terminate. We have Kolaghan's Command. Got a lot of lands. Not something we want to see, but I think this hand is keepable enough to play the control game. Hopefully, we'll be lucky and get some nice draws here. And hopefully they will have a target for this spell snare. But by the looks of it, Street Wraith is likely either Death's Shadow or Living End. Matchups that are not great. And of course, we draw another land, as expected. Um, I'm not sure how good the Living End matchup is at all. Breeding Pool, interesting. So this might not be Living End. Street Wraith, Breeding. Oh, Infect. Interesting. I guess they play Street Wraith now as sort of like a Gitaxian Probe. We'll get a. Actually, yeah, we'll get a Steam Vents here. Our life total is not super important. And we'll go ahead and Spell Snare that right away. We don't want to have to fight this thing and deal with this thing in combat. They do have an Inkmoth Nexus though, so it's important to be aware of that. Fatal Push gets really good in this matchup. And Kolaghan's Command could also blow them out. It's an Inkmoth is an artifact. But we'll see what they do here. If they don't have another mana and they just go for the Inkmoth attack, we'll terminate it. We can also just terminate it end of turn anyways. We'll see how they play it out because it's highly dependent on what they end up doing. The fact that we're able to actually spell snare this blighted agent is pretty important. And likely they're playing Street Wraith, to fuel Become Immense, so it's important to just keep Become Immense on our radar at all times when you're playing against Infect, because there's turns when they can just go crazy on you. So we're going to go ahead and say okay to the Blighted Agent. Not much we can do anyways. They are likely keeping up something to protect it with here. I'm still going to go for the end of turn terminate. That way their pump spell isn't coming at me on their turn. And then they protect it here. We could also, next turn, Kolaghan's Command, deal 2 damage, make him discard. But it's possible they have like a Vines of Vastwood or something. And that's definitely a card we want to get out of their hand. Blossoming Defense, maybe? Vines, sure. Snapcaster Mage is an interesting draw, actually. So there's an argument to... thing is, if we Kolaghan's Command right now, deal 2 damage, make him discard, it takes 1 mana to fire up Inkmoth. They could play another land, and then they could have, say, Become Immense plus... what's that card? Yeah, I mean, but that still requires the perfect hand almost. And we really want to deal with this as soon as possible. So we're just going to go ahead, make him discard, deal 2 damage. Right, they discarded a Breeding Pool. Right, so they would probably need to play a land here. Become Immense. Plus, yep. So Inkmoth is going to be pretty tough to deal with. These creature lands are always the hard ones. but we want to be able to kill their threats when they're tapped out as much as possible. Next turn, we can go Snapcaster Terminate at their end of turn. But now they're thinking, do they pump? You know, and they probably should. I mean, definitely depends on their hand. But they could play the slow game here. It's been a while since I played against Infect, actually. It's sort of dropped off the radar. And this is the matchup where, you know, like Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push are really good. So it's kind of unfortunate that we don't have one of those. It's definitely a favorable matchup, though. Let's see what our opponent decides to do here. I think this is a game that we can definitely steal. Alright, looks like the opponent's taking a while to figure out what they're doing here, so I will get back to you guys as soon as they make a decision. Alright, looks like our opponent is back. Didn't take him too long. Rancor. That's pretty interesting because I guess it just goes back to their hand. Oh. Sure. Okay, it looks like they're trying to get in as much damage as they can right now. It's pretty all in. Yep, Rancor returns the hand. Fatal Push. That is what we want to see, because now we can go snap, Fatal Push, snap, Fatal Push. And that is a super clean answer to Infect. Alright, Fatal Push. That card we want to see. It's a non-damage base removal spell. Pendelhaven is fine. Sure. Inkmoth is in. They'll go ahead and attack. We will say, okay. We know one of their cards in hand is Rancor. And now they're thinking, okay, do we pump with Pendelhaven? Do we pump with whatever's in hand? Like we said, we know one of those cards is Rancor. And that means we know for sure we can beat their hand with push, snap, push. Which is a pretty good feeling. But right now, we're just gonna take it. We'll see what they play, if anything. We're not gonna fight over this in combat, just because it could get ugly. And they also could have used the pump spell before damage there, so we'll just take the Infect. I wonder what they could have drawn Blighted Agent, which is why maybe they didn't pump with Pendelhaven, because most of their other spells are 1 mana, I would say, to protect at least. So that's an interesting decision not to even pump Pendelhaven, because that feels like a free extra 1 damage. But if they go Blighted Agent, we have a great, push, snap, push, and then we're really well positioned. In fact, we don't even have to go push, snap, push. We can go push, next turn, snap, K command, damage, discard. That would get rid of Rancor and both their threats. We'll see what our opponent does here. Of course, if they have something like the 1-mana elf, yeah, so that way they can protect it. Resolves. So I think here we go. Cast Fatal Push right there. And then we'll get a Blood Crypt. Go ahead and Snapcaster Mage. You know all they got is Rancor. Target Fatal Push. Say okay. Cast Flashback. And then deal with their entire board. Now we have a clock in the form of Snapcaster Mage. We just drew Delver. And we've got Thought Scour as well. And like I've mentioned before, Scalding Tarn plus Delver of Secrets is kind of like a mini scry. So we'll go ahead and put a stop on our upkeep there in case we want to shuffle. But we do want to reveal, and no, we don't want to shuffle. So we can take that stop off now. Whoops. I'll go ahead and crack the fetch now. Let's get an island. We'll first Thought Scour. We get a Gurmag Angler. Next we'll Serum Visions. We see, yeah, so we're set up to win here. We'll go Serum Visions, Snapcaster. We'll attack. And this is going to be pretty easy to close out the game from here. And we will go ahead and play Gurmag Angler. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we've got lethal next turn in a multitude of different ways. Inkmoth Nexus just is not going to get there, unfortunately, for our opponent. We'll just go ahead and go to combat. We know they have Rancor. They'll probably block with the Inkmoth Nexus. Now, there's an argument to bolting it before, but I think the safest line of action would just be, I mean, we're winning in a lot of different ways here. So we'll win in the ways that they can least interact, which is bolt to the face, basically. Because if they're, there we go, yeah. Looks like our opponent saw that they didn't really have an out there. Alright, what comes in? Is it Staticaster? Collective Brutality, great card. Dispel, Counter Squall, and Engineered Explosives. Let's see how many dead cards we have. A lot of our deck is pretty live against them, actually. So let's see what we can cut here. Spell Pierce is not bad at all. It's an easy, efficient counter. Spell Snare is pretty good. It gets, whatchamacallit, it gets Spell Skate, it gets Blighted Agent. So there's actually, our deck is already really well positioned to begin with. So there's an argument to cutting Delver of Secrets and just, going full control. We can cut a Mana Leak because we're bringing in Counter Squall and Dispel. So they're just cleaner answers to a lot of what they're doing. We can cut one Spell Snare just because there's not too many threats, and we don't want to top deck counters. We want to top deck the removal spells to deal with those cards. Terminate all removal is good. Young Pyromancers. We could cut a few, cut 2 Delvers. And maybe cut 1 Young Pyromancer, because at the end of the day, it's not important how we close the game. It's the fact that we can get to closing the game. So I think this should be a pretty good setup here. We've got a lot of good tools in our sideboard to deal with them. We just have to hope that we draw them. This is an interesting hand. Collective Brutality, like we said, amazing. The only issue is, of course, if you have an Ink Moth, it's much harder to deal with. The issue is the one land. If we had two lands, it's a snap keep, but I think it's still a keep. It's a bit greedy. It's kind of assuming that we'll draw land off of one of these Thought Scours or our draw steps. But I don't think we're too poorly positioned here. Sure. This could be a Glistener Elf. Which we will happily say sure to. Noble Hierarch, that's also okay. A bit of extra mana there. Another Thought Scour, not quite what we wanted to see. Here we've got the Spell Snare up for the Blighted Agent if they go for it. I think that's definitely the better play than Thought Scour. And I think we get a Watery Grave with the Thought Scour, with the Scalding Tarn here. And we'll Thought Scour in a turn if they don't play anything. My guess is they'll play something. Glistener Elf resolves. There's really nothing we can do against a Glistener Elf. They have Dryad Arbor. Interesting. Do they attack with Noble Hierarch? Guess not. Because they will probably have a protection spell they want to protect their creatures. We'll go ahead and shock. Just Thought Scour. Try to hit our second land. We don't get there, but we didn't mill our second land either. And there's our second land. That is the card of the hour. Now we have a couple options here. We can go Collective Brutality, get rid of one of our Thought Scours. We could also go 4 cards in graveyard. We could also just jam Tasigur, keep up Spell Snare. But actually, I like Collective Brutality here. We'll go for their Glistener Elf. It'll force them to okay, cast with 2 modes. Target opponent reveals hand. Target creature gets -2/-2. Sure. Target opponent. Target creature will discard one of our Thought Scours. They'll go ahead and probably protect the Glistener Elf with a spell. That's fine. We'll still get to get a card out of their hand. Oh, Spell Pierce. That could be really bad, actually. That is not something I played around. Oof. Yeah, that's rough. We could have gotten pretty greedy there. And now our opponent is untapping with essentially 3 mana, maybe 4, and 3 to 4 cards in hand. So they could definitely pull off. That could have been a bit greedy. I was more playing towards a protection spell rather than a counter spell. That could definitely have been an oversight there. The fact that they're playing a little slower here makes me think maybe they don't have the kill, or maybe they haven't calculated it yet. But we're not in the greatest position here. We're definitely taking at least 2 Infect, probably more. All right, let's see what our opponent can put together here. All right. Looks like our opponent is going into the think tank once more. The Infect matchup is is good if you play it right. My best line of play might have actually been to play Tassiger, keep up Spell Snare. Yeah, this is scary because they could go Vines, Vines. That's 10 damage, 10 Infect. But if they had that already, I'm not sure what they're playing around. Like what Gut Shot, you know, no one plays that. So my guess is we get to live to see another turn. We don't have the cheap removal that we're looking for. Right, Noble Hierarch. Sure. Get in for 3 Infect here. Double Exalted. Sure. Alright. 1, 2. Tarmogoyf. Interesting. So they're going for that dual approach there. Which is fine because we've got the Terminate for the Tarmogoyf. I think we definitely want to go. This time, I do think Collective Brutality is the right play. Once again, cast with 2 modes. Target opponent reveals the end turn, creature gets -2. Target opponent, target creature, and we'll discard the Thought Scour. Because this time, you know, if it gets countered, come Immense. Sure, get that out of their hand. Oh, yeah. That's a great trade. And now we can actually get Tassiger out online. And then we can terminate Tarmogoyf next turn if we need to. But let's see what's in the graveyard. What card types? They have creature, instant land. So let's just get rid of sorcery. And that way we can shrink Tarmogoyf just a little bit. Oh, almost forgot that one. There we go. Now with Exalted, it'll still deal us 5 damage. And that's actually pretty scary, considering they do have Become Immense, which could deal the extra, you know, damage to finish us off. But I think if we play it smart, we can. Yeah, they'll go ahead and attack here with Tarmogoyf. I imagine they'll get their 2 Exalted triggers. We say, okay, if they've got the Pump Spell, they've got the Pump Spell. I think Tasker is our only way to win here. Alright, take 6, or take 5, pass. Alright, Snapcaster Mage is a nice draw. And before we do anything, there's an argument to just go ahead and terminating right now, just to see what our opponent has. Because if we need to block, we need to know that we need to block. Vines, yes. Because that would have essentially killed us. Yeah, so this is not the best position. Tarmogoyf's going to go ahead and attack. This is tough. Sure. Oh, cancel. Another Exalted trigger. I think it's safe to say that we should block here. Just to preserve life total. Oh, they got an Inkmoth now. We really wanted to see another land there. It's possible that we should have ditched the Spell Snare a long time ago. Seems like we had a relatively easy win here, but we'll go ahead and pass. The Tarmogoyf game plan of Infect is actually something that is very real. You know, it's something you really need to watch out for. I don't think they're going to change gears here and go Infect, but if they do, it's nice to keep Snapcaster Bolt available in response to the Exalted triggers. But we are not in the best position, especially we wanted to see a bit more mana that game. There's an argument to not having terminated that main phase. We could have terminated in response to the vines if they were going to go for the kill, per se. So I'm going to attack here. Yep. Sure. Go down to 1. I think we just hope to draw another land here. We didn't quite get there. Spell Pierce is pretty bad in this position, so it looks like we're going to have to just run out Snapcaster Mage as a blocker. This Tarmogoyf is going all the way, unfortunately. We didn't see, like, is it static casters or wow, sure. Ah, right. Okay. I totally forgot that we're at 1 Dried Arbor. So we have to run out Snapcaster Mage here. It's very likely that they have something. We'll get Lightning Bolt. We'll go to blocks. Say okay. And then before damage, we will try to bolt here. Of course, they probably... Oh, well, we live to see another turn. We see bolt. Here we can play Delver and hope to block plus bolt here. But they have a pretty loaded hand. My guess is they're in a fine position here. So this is one of the reasons why I think Delver maybe we should take out, because it doesn't. We're not racing. We're the control deck in this game, so I think we can do some better sideboarding if we go to a game 3. I wonder what our opponent's sitting on though, because yeah, we'll block here. Say okay. Not much we can do from this position. We're at 5 Infect. We can go end of turn Bolt. Because I think that's just one of our only ways to deal with this. Nice. So we were able to get there. We'll go Serum Visions, try to hit something. Snapcaster Mage can get Bolt. So I don't think we want to see either of these. We're facing down a pretty... This Inkmoth Nexus is the real deal here. In fact, they could even just attack with Noble Hierarch here, and they would put us in a really awkward position of having to use Snapcaster Mage as a chump blocker. Yep, and that's exactly what they do. Say okay to the Exalted triggers. Run out Snapcaster. Target whatever. Yeah, they're dead in a lot of different ways here, but we're just kind of trying to hang on here as long as we can. We see a spell snare. That doesn't get us there, and we'll go ahead and concede. So let's go to the next game here. I'll go ahead and cut the snares. I think they're not great. Go ahead and cut the Delver of Secrets. Mana Leak might just be better on the play. And then there's also an argument for the Surgical Extraction to rip them of threats, or maybe even a Fulminator Mage to get their... No, we'll just keep a Spell Snare in. And we'll see how that does. We're really hoping to see some of the key cards in this matchup, like Fatal Push. Yes, we would like to play first. Yeah, this is a great hand. We will definitely keep this hand. We got turn 1 Bolt, turn 2 Collective Brutality. If they don't play anything, we can just go Thought Scour. But we are almost always bolting anything in this position. Sure. Go ahead and get rid of that as soon as possible. There's an argument for Collective Brutality right now. I'm actually going to wait. I don't think there's a need. I think we can actually kill a creature with it, plus strip apart their hand next turn with Spell Pierce backup, in case they play another 1-drop or something. Inkmoth is a bit more annoying, but we'll figure out a way to deal with Inkmoth eventually. The question is, what would we discard? I probably should have played Island there. We'll go ahead and Thought Scour ourselves right now. Get a Gurmag Angler, which is pretty good. So let's see. We'll have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 cards in graveyard. If we have Serum Visions, we get to 5 cards. We can't keep up Spell Pierce. This is interesting. I think I would love to get Gurmag Angler out there right now to present a clock, because if you give Infect too much time, well, they'll take that time and they will enjoy it. Serum Visions, keep up Spell Pierce. I want to be able to do a turn where I can Electrolyze, keep up Spell Pierce. So I'll go ahead and Serum Visions, try to get another land. And Bolt is pretty nice. I like both of these cards on top, actually. But let's go like that. So the fact that we don't have another blue for Bolt plus Pierce is kind of annoying. But we'll see what we can do here. We'll keep up mana. We'll try to take care of their threats one by one. Hit our land drops. Get Gurmag Angler out next turn for 1 mana, which will use up this black source that doesn't really do anything otherwise. Alright, they have another land. Spell Skite. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to have to say yes to that. And as much as we would like Collective Brutality in this position, I think we're going to get a double red here in the form of Steam Vents. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we have Bolt and Spell Pierce up. Spell Pierce being the key one to avoid just kind of dying. But Spell Skite is very annoying right now, and we're going to have to find a way to deal with that immediately. We could have also kept up Electrolyze plus Bolt. Target Spell Skite is one of the targets. That way they can't redirect. And we can still do that, actually. It kind of depends how they sequence their turn here. If they go for the Inkmoth, if they go for the Pendelhaven. It could be a play that we save for another turn, though. The thing with Infect is if we don't draw our hyper efficient removal, like Fatal Push, you know, it can still be a pretty tough game. Alright, going for 2 mana here. Blighted Agent, maybe? Yeah, Blighted Agent, sure. We would really like to Electrolyze with Spell Pierce back up. Sure. Alright, so this is kind of what we want to see. And here we can go Electrolyze, 1 here, 1 here. That way they can't redirect with Spellskite. Actually, we could force them to, but then they can choose which one they want to save, I think. Yeah, we'll keep it like that. And that way they can't redirect. Now, it would be nice to follow up with like a Bolt. Oh, Mutagenic Growth. Ouch. And we draw Fatal Push. Yeah, we probably should have waited till after damage there. Definitely not the right play. Interesting. So maybe we double black might have been helpful. But we'll go Fatal Push here, the Spellskite, Lightning Bolt here, keep up Dispel, Spell Pierce. And now their clock is, you know, we're presenting a 2-turn clock. Their clock is much slower. And we have an answer to a lot of what they can do here. Okay. Sure. I'm okay with that. That's one less card they have in hand. So it's interesting. If they have Pump Spell, Dispel, which is why we don't fight over the first Pump Spell, I would say. If the Pump Spell doesn't kill us, if it gets us to over 7 Infect, that's when we do it. It really depends what this Pump Spell is, though. If it's like Groundswell, don't think we fight over it. Our opponent's running low on time here, though, so with that said, I think the game is coming to a close soon. We could have some draws that become immense. Interesting. Do we fight over that? I think I dispel it. Because that does put us on a 2-turn clock. And next turn, if they try to go for like another, they just go Pendlehaven. Spell Pierce is also pretty good here. And them tapping down this blue mana actually makes me feel more comfortable that they don't have a counter spell in hand, and they're saving it for Pendlehaven. They're running very low on time. I think we do we want to? Yeah, I think we want to Spell Pierce that. Yep. So they go ahead and Pendlehaven pump. That is fine in our eyes here. We go to 5 Infect. Now they still have draws like Become Immense that could really hurt us. Here we'll go ahead and cast Escalate with 2 mode. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. They lose 2 life. This land's not doing much in our hand. Target opponent loses 2 life. Discard a card. And let's see what they're working with. Cut the vines, which would have killed us. Attack. And now we just need to dodge 1 turn. With how quickly they're going. Oh boy. Oh, just take 1. Oh my gosh, Tarmogoyf. But we draw the lightning bolt. And we won't waste our opponent's time. And we got there. Alright, thanks for tuning in. That was kind of a close game with Infect. Maybe I could have made some tighter plays throughout there, but we are relatively very well positioned against Infect. Alright, so thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you in round 3.